fantastic to see Graham's promo for the conference and the Easter Day presentations. And I just am humbled to be in the company of Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock. I was a fan of Graham's going back to Fingerprints of the Gods in 1995 and read that book. And that was right around the time I discovered the Younger Dryas hypothesis. That's actually pre-publication, but that I suspected that there's a tremendous cataclysm 13,000 years ago. And the nature of the cataclysm was a little bit different than Graham had presented in Fingerprints. And I wanted to get in touch with him so bad, but he seemed to be such a stellar figure that there was no way to, really meet the man or whatnot. And through the years and through some, good fortuitous introductions, I got to know him about 10 years ago. And it's just wonderful now to be in his company and to come out to Sedona and be able to present with him and talk about the research that the Comet Research Group has performed is just a blessing. So I'm looking forward to next Sunday, Robert.
Yeah, that's really great to hear, George, because I was also inspired by Graham. When he was here in 2019, he had a talk on his recent book, America Before. And he mentioned you in there. He mentioned LIDAR. He mentioned, the comet and the LIDAR over South America, showing that most of the rainforest has been cultivated by human beings. Those two things seem to be very important to me and kind of overlooked. Like, how could you overlook this ever, present danger from the cosmos? And it seems like the ancient people had a lot of fixation with the cosmos and the stars. And also, if you look just at their architecture, they look more advanced than us. So maybe they were tuned into something. Why did they connect everything to the cosmos? And why did they carry on to these myths and stories that confirm what you guys are talking about, what you guys are bringing up?
That's right. He did a wonderful job in America Before of tying together, the very, very complex alignments of the ancient mound builders and, how it suggests a deeper meaning, that they weren't out there just fooling around and dragging around some dirt just for fun, that they were, trying to communicate something more profound.
Yeah.
And it is very profound. I mean, the Younger Dryas event, I call it the Rosetta Stone of Earth and human history. If it would just be seized by mainstream science, we'd be able to puzzle out so many other things that mystified us, for years. In fact, the term mystery is applied to so many things, such as the disappearance of the Clovis culture and the loss of the megafauna in North America and the tremendous geological changes in the past. They were all a mystery. Well, this mystery has been going on for 50 years. And the Comet Research Group has done a lot to reveal the actual science behind the mystery. What is the explanation? We certainly don't have all the answers, but we've got the path that can reveal the answers. But I think it's traumatic for mainstream science that it requires so much of a rethink of things that they've taught and written over the years that it's going to be a generational slog to change the paradigm, Robert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what I heard Graham say and what inspired me at that event is he said that we could use our technology instead of turning it against each other. We could turn it, to take care of this very much big nemesis or enemy, as us humans like to have in order to bring us all together. A common
Yes, and that's been a theme of some of the great leaders of the research, back to my buddy Bob Copers, who first got me into this in 1995. Bob was traumatized by the threat of nuclear war and devastation and worldwide conflict and the increasing militarization of our culture. And Bob seized on the subject of cosmic impact as perhaps the only redeeming focus that we could have that would allow us to grow out of that kind of thinking and to have a common enemy, if we will, and an enemy that isn't a Democrat or a Republican. A space rock has no political party. It is very, very hard to blame on anyone.
Yeah.
Right? It is apolitical in the extreme. And it's a tremendous threat, a much greater threat than we acknowledge.
Yes.
One thing that never ceases to amaze me and kind of disturb me is the disrespect that we show the myths of the past.
Yeah.
There's a lot of respect for indigenous cultures and respect for kind of anyone that isn't, Western civilization. But
Yeah.
then they're ready to always dismiss their myths.
Yeah.
They seem to respect them in one sense, and they seem to think they're important and are these people interesting, but they're simply campfire stories, aren't they?
Yeah.
There weren't gods fighting in the sky.
Right. Yeah.
Those aren't their interpretation of very real physical events. And when
Yeah.
you start to look at it through the eye of someone that believes that there were physical events in the past that were very dramatic and worth telling, you start to read those myths quite differently. And it all starts to make a little sense. And then you truly respect them and can see that they're trying to tell us something, in their own special way.
Yeah. Well, I was pretty lucky too, because I stumbled across Joseph Campbell
Yeah.
and, the power of myth. And so it stuck with me. Oh, aha. That's where we slightly got it wrong in the modern world, thinking a myth is just a fairy tale and
Right.
ha- has no substance value.
The myths can both communicate, moral information, right? And valuable cultural and interpersonal lessons.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think they were communicating physical dangers that they experienced and things they saw in the skies.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
the way that they did, in the way that they interpret them. And Randall has done a wonderful job decoding that for people around the world. And we've got no bigger fans than the ones that are going to be at Sedona, and we're in the company of a very special man who has accumulated a tremendous amount of knowledge, but also has the geophysical understanding and interest and curiosity that he bridges the world between myth and geophysical reality. And I think those two things are intricately linked in a fashion that's not appreciated by either the geophysical community or the mythological and cultural community. All right. So it's a special kind of knowledge you're helping present, Robert, next Sunday. There are great science communicators out there that are publishing this stuff in a variety of different media, and it's all available to you, and a lot of it's well published. Yeah, we're getting into the best journals. Now, we're still kind of shadow banned from some of the key ones, but I think that day is coming where they can't ignore us any longer. I started a blog in 2010 and it managed to maintain it over these, I guess, 12 years now, and got over 1,000 posts. And what I try to do is both respond to the critics, but also supply the original scientific publications for free and in total. So one of my collaborators, a young man I've never met in person, a great fellow who's an archaeological student at Flinders University in Adelaide, Australia, Mark Young, and I began a bibliography that I recommend to anyone, and that's at the Cosmic Tusk. You click the upper right-hand burger menu, and it'll be the first click below that. And that's a comprehensive bibliography of every single paper that has been published since 2007 concerning the Younger Dryas event, pro, con, and in between. And we make all those available